The sun had barely risen over Tokyo when the impossible began to take shape in the skies above, a scene no one could have predicted. Yet one man was about to challenge fate itself. A lone pilot, already considered lost by his superiors, climbed into his battered aircraft with determination burning in his eyes, knowing that this final mission would test the limits of courage, skill, and human endurance. The airfield was alive with tension. Ground crews whispered his name, a mixture of awe, fear, and disbelief, for they knew the mission was considered a death sentence by everyone who had watched similar sorties end in smoke, fire, and wreckage. Engines roared to life, filling the morning air with a deafening symphony of metal and mechanical might, shaking the very ground beneath him. Yet he remained composed, his hands steady, his mind focused on what needed to be done. This was no ordinary flight. It was a confrontation with destiny, a defiance of probability, a statement that even when the odds were insurmountable, the human spirit could still assert itself. Above him, the first streaks of dawn painted the city in muted gold, the buildings below shadowed and silent, as if the world itself held its breath. Every instrument he touched, every lever adjusted, every panel monitored, was a reminder of the delicate balance between life and death, each decision capable of tipping the scales in one direction or the other. His aircraft, battered and scarred from previous engagements, shuddered under his command, but responded obediently to every maneuver, every turn calculated with precision, honed by countless hours of training and combat. Enemy formations were gathering miles away, their reconnaissance planes scanning the horizon, unaware that a single fearless pilot was rising steadily toward them, a silhouette against the lightening sky, resolute and unyielding. His squadron had been decimated in prior missions, their absence haunting him, yet he refused to falter, refused to yield to despair, drawing strength from the memory of comrades lost and the knowledge that survival was not guaranteed, yet still possible. The sky itself seemed to conspire against him. Gusts of wind threatened control, clouds thick with smoke obscured vision. Distant anti-aircraft fire punctuated the horizon with deadly sparks, each a potential end, yet he remained unshaken, his mind a fortress of clarity amidst chaos. Each maneuver he executed was deliberate, each angle of attack calculated, every turn a negotiation with both gravity and enemy. The line between bravery and recklessness blurred but controlled, the outcome unknown, the risk absolute. To those observing from the ground, he appeared almost spectral, a figure etched against the pale morning sky, climbing steadily, the hum of engines a heartbeat in the vast expanse of air, a solitary figure confronting inevitability. His thoughts extended beyond mere survival. They spiraled into strategy, into sequences of evasions, calculated attacks, and contingencies, every movement designed to exploit weakness, every decision a gamble with destiny itself. History would later call it foolhardy, some would label it suicidal, yet he called it essential, necessary, the only way to assert agency in a world dictated by war and destruction. As he leveled off, wings cutting through thin clouds, the first enemy reconnaissance planes came into view, their pilots unaware of the storm that approached, a storm composed not of numbers, but of relentless human determination. His heartbeat matched the engine's rhythm, a synchronized countdown toward the moment that would define him, the mission and the perception of courage itself. The skies above Tokyo, both enemy territory and canvas of opportunity, stretched endlessly, filled with potential for disaster and triumph alike, and the pilot embraced the duality, welcoming the risk while preparing for every contingency. To the world watching from afar, he seemed ordinary, fragile, vulnerable. Yet in reality, he embodied defiance, resilience, and audacity, a living testament to courage exceeding reason, a man willing to confront the edge of mortality without flinching, aware that the outcome could be oblivion, yet resolved to face it regardless, determined to etch his presence into the annals of history through sheer force of will and unwavering commitment. The city beneath him seemed almost serene from above, a deceptive calm that belied the chaos waiting on the horizon. Yet he knew that tranquility was temporary, a fleeting moment before the storm would engulf everything in its path. The enemy aircraft were approaching steadily, dark silhouettes against the rising sun, formations precise, disciplined, unaware that one determined pilot was maneuvering with an audacity that defied all expectation. Every turn, every adjustment to throttle and rudder was measured, each motion executed with surgical precision, a dance of survival performed at hundreds of feet above the sprawling cityscape. His mind catalogued every threat, every possibility, the positions of anti-aircraft emplacements below, the speed and altitude of enemy fighters, calculating angles of attack and escape with relentless focus. Sweat beaded on his brow, yet he did not falter. Every heartbeat was in sync with the mechanical pulse of his aircraft, an unspoken symphony of man and machine, united against overwhelming odds. Clouds above swirled in shades of grey and gold, sunlight filtering through gaps, casting fleeting shadows on rooftops, streets and alleys, transforming the city into a canvas of light and darkness, chaos and opportunity. Below, civilians had begun to notice the distant hum of engines, some pausing to glance upward, unaware of the peril, unaware that one man's defiance could shape the outcome of an entire mission, potentially altering the course of events that had been written as inevitable. His hands never wavered. Instruments, gauges, and switches were obeyed instinctively, the aircraft responding as if it understood the gravity of the task, wings cutting through the wind with unwavering precision. Enemy fighters began to engage, diving and banking aggressively, yet he matched every move with uncanny skill. His maneuvers at once bold and calculated, each evasion increasing the tension, each risk embraced with a controlled fearlessness. The sun climbed higher, casting a harsh glare that reflected off metallic surfaces, making targeting difficult for his adversaries, yet he used every natural advantage, every shadow, every angle to maintain initiative. Flak bursts erupted around him, explosions blooming like deadly flowers, smoke trailing into the sky, yet he threaded his aircraft through the danger, weaving a path that seemed impossible, a testament to both instinct and experience, honed over countless sorties. Thoughts of mortality flitted briefly through his mind, but he refused distraction, replacing fear with clarity, anxiety with resolve, uncertainty with meticulous calculation. Each second stretched into eternity, the sky a battlefield of both skill and willpower, the enemy unaware of the storm they had inadvertently provoked. Communication lines were silent, radios crackling with fragments of orders, yet he trusted only his senses, his training, and the unbreakable determination that had carried him from takeoff to this pivotal moment. Every evasive roll, dive, and climb was an assertion of life over inevitability, defiance over surrender, courage over fear. The city sprawled beneath him, a web of streets, rooftops, and bridges, each potentially lethal obstacle navigated with precision and foresight. His aircraft shuddered under the stress, yet responded flawlessly, wings slicing through air as though cutting destiny itself. Enemy attacks became more aggressive, formations tightening, but he anticipated each movement, adjusting, spinning, banking, a single actor commanding a sky full of chaos with a calm born from resolve. Time seemed elastic, moments stretching and contracting, each decision magnified in consequence, every maneuver a negotiation with mortality itself. Above Tokyo, the interplay of light, shadow, smoke, and metal formed a tableau of suspense and cinematic drama. The pilot at the center, resolute, unyielding, and unbowed. Even as the odds stacked impossibly against him, he continued, an embodiment of defiance, a solitary figure in a sky full of peril, asserting the power of human will against the machinery of war, ready to etch this final mission into history not as a tragedy, but as a testament to courage and unwavering resolve. Before the mission even began, Tokyo was a city teetering on the edge of chaos, its streets bustling with civilians unaware of the deadly confrontation looming above. The pilot had grown up watching the city's spires and rooftops, memorizing the intricate network of alleys, bridges, and courtyards that now served as both potential hazards and critical pathways for survival. Each lane and rooftop could determine life or death, and his knowledge of the city's layout became an unseen weapon in the sky. As dawn broke, the first hints of sunlight reflected off tiled roofs and narrow streets, painting a deceptive picture of calm while tension simmered beneath the surface. Civilians went about their daily routines, merchants opening shuttered stalls, children running through courtyards, unaware that a single aircraft maneuvering miles above them could determine the course of their morning. The pilot's mission was not only tactical, but profoundly personal, an assertion of defiance against a war that had already claimed so much. Ground defenses were in disarray from previous engagements, anti-aircraft crews repositioning hastily, yet his reconnaissance and careful planning allowed him to anticipate their movements, giving him an edge invisible to any observer on the ground. In the cockpit, every gauge, dial, and control was a lifeline, a bridge between survival and catastrophe. The hum of the engine was both comfort and constant reminder of vulnerability. One mechanical failure or miscalculation could spell instant doom. Above the city, clouds shifted and swirled, sometimes concealing his approach, sometimes exposing him to prying eyes. Yet he remained adaptable, adjusting flight paths, calculating trajectories, and exploiting natural cover with meticulous precision. Each street, alley, and rooftop below carried the weight of history, potential hiding places for civilians, and obstacles that could mean the difference between life and death for both the pilot and those below. The city itself became a character in the mission, a living labyrinth whose topography he understood intimately. From rooftops, smoke from chimneys curled lazily into the sky, forming patterns that could either aid or hinder his reconnaissance. Bridges spanning canals and rivers acted as natural choke points, both for enemy movements and for his strategic maneuvers. The pilot's mind raced constantly, mapping potential threats and planning contingencies, ensuring that no moment was left unexamined. Every decision taken in those early hours could ripple outward, affecting not only the mission, but countless lives on the ground. Civilians moving through the streets became unknowingly part of the calculus, their patterns of movement studied from above, with decisions made to avoid unnecessary casualties. Beyond the tactical elements, there was an emotional weight that pressed upon him, a recognition of the city's fragility, the stakes of the war, and the necessity of perseverance. Each flicker of light from lanterns, each distant echo of a bell or footstep, became part of the sensory tapestry he relied upon, blending instinct with strategy. As reconnaissance planes scouted ahead, the pilot calculated wind currents, cloud density, and light angles, turning natural elements into tools for survival and precision. The city's geometry, with its intricate streets and uneven rooftops, required constant mental mapping, every calculation critical to navigation and engagement. Tokyo at this hour was a paradoxical mix of serenity and danger, life continuing in oblivious routine below while death circled above. The pilot's personal resolve intertwined with professional discipline, each reinforcing the other, allowing him to move with quiet confidence, knowing that understanding the environment fully was as crucial as skill in combat. Shadows lengthened as the sun climbed higher, providing both concealment and risk, creating a dynamic and ever-changing arena in which the pilot would have to act decisively. Each moment of observation, each adjustment in altitude, speed, and direction was a measure of his mastery over both machine and circumstance, a delicate balance that could not be ignored. As the morning progressed, the city revealed layers of complexity that only someone intimately familiar could fully comprehend, and the pilot's awareness of every street, alley, and rooftop became an invaluable asset. From above, the patterns of civilian life unfolded like a living map, each movement, each gathering, each flicker of smoke or shadow signaling possibilities and hazards alike. The pilot calculated wind currents, angles of sunlight, and cloud coverage to determine the safest and most effective flight path, knowing that one misjudgment could lead to immediate disaster. Markets, bridges, and courtyards presented both cover and obstacles, their historical architecture offering potential concealment, but also threats if misread. Anti-aircraft emplacements had been partially reorganized overnight, their exact positions uncertain, requiring constant vigilance and adaptive strategy. Through his binoculars and careful observation, he noted patrol routes, tracking not only potential enemies, but also areas where civilians had concentrated. Understanding that minimizing collateral damage was essential, every turn of his aircraft, every adjustment in altitude and speed, was executed with a precise understanding of Tokyo's terrain, the city itself a complex chessboard in which his moves determined both survival and success. The air smelled faintly of smoke from early morning fires and distant chimneys, a sensory detail that underscored the reality of the mission and the stakes involved. The hum of engines and occasional mechanical groans were constant reminders of the fragility of both machine and pilot, Yet he moved with unwavering focus, drawing upon extensive training and years of experience. The pilot's eyes constantly scanned rooftops, streets and open spaces, calculating angles for potential engagement or evasion, while simultaneously monitoring distant enemy reconnaissance flights, noting their formations and anticipating their trajectories. His mind compartmentalized threat, opportunity, and timing, converting the chaos of a waking city into actionable information. Shadows shifted with the sun, changing cover dynamics, and he adjusted his path to exploit both darkness and light, a delicate dance requiring absolute concentration. Civilians below moved in patterns the pilot had memorized from countless observations, and he factored their movements into every decision, ensuring that no unnecessary lives would be jeopardized. Each street, each alley, each intersection carried the weight of potential consequence, and he treated the cityscape as both battlefield and puzzle, navigating it with a strategist's eye and a survivor's instinct. The structural details of buildings, slopes, angles, and roof heights were as critical as enemy positions, shaping his flight path and providing natural camouflage. Smoke from chimneys and early fires rose and mingled with mist, creating shifting visual barriers that could obscure or reveal, and the pilot used them deliberately, timing maneuvers to coincide with fleeting cover. Distant sounds from bell chimes to footsteps were absorbed and processed, each informing his understanding of urban dynamics, yet never allowing distraction. Even minor gusts of wind or changes in atmospheric pressure were calculated, every environmental variable transformed into a tool or challenge to be leveraged. The pilot's mental map expanded constantly, integrating new data, anticipating enemy reactions, and ensuring that every potential scenario had a response. There was an underlying tension, a constant awareness of the precariousness of his situation, but he channeled fear into precision, letting it sharpen rather than paralyze. Historical knowledge of the city, including previous attack patterns and urban vulnerabilities, informed every choice, and his ability to synthesize observation, experience, and instinct created a unique advantage. The streets of Tokyo, full of life and potential peril, stretched below him like a living labyrinth, and he navigated it with a combination of discipline, intuition, and audacity. Each maneuver was a statement of mastery over both environment and machine, a reflection of the relentless drive that defined his approach to the mission. Above the city, the morning light shifted constantly, casting fleeting shadows that offered concealment while simultaneously exposing risk, a dynamic canvas the pilot read with expert precision. Every element of the urban landscape, from rooftops to alleyways, chimneys to bridges, became part of a meticulously calculated strategy, each informing the next decision, each shaping the path toward survival and mission success. The tension in the sky over Tokyo grew with every passing moment, a pressure that weighed heavily on the lone pilot as enemy reconnaissance planes began to converge, their formations methodical, precise, and utterly relentless. Each distant silhouette was a potential threat, each shadow a harbinger of destruction, yet he navigated the turbulence with a focus sharpened by necessity. The pilot's mind raced constantly, calculating not only the enemy's probable paths, but also the angles of approach that would minimize exposure while maximizing opportunity. Anti-aircraft fire from below erupted sporadically, each burst a reminder of the fragility of his situation, and he threaded his aircraft through the danger with the instinctive precision of a man who had faced death countless times but refused to succumb. The city below, once a network of quiet streets and hidden corners, had become a labyrinth of potential hazards and fleeting cover. And every decision carried consequences, not just for himself, but for the countless civilians unknowingly caught in the web of conflict. His hands were steady on the controls, every lever and dial attended to with meticulous care, each adjustment translating immediately into action, the aircraft responding as an extension of his own body, a seamless fusion of man and machine. The enemy formations intensified their maneuvers, diving, banking, and attempting to encircle him, yet he anticipated every movement, responding with evasive rolls, calculated climbs, and sudden dives, exploiting both natural cover and mechanical agility. Clouds above provided intermittent concealment, and he timed every maneuver to coincide with shadows, sun angles, and atmospheric variations, turning environmental variables into tactical advantages. Below, the hum of the city was punctuated by distant explosions and panicked cries, a soundscape of chaos that heightened the stakes and sharpened his focus. Each motion, each roll and adjustment carried a weight that could not be underestimated. The pilot understood that a single miscalculation could result in catastrophic failure, the end of both mission and life. His mind moved faster than the aircraft itself, processing trajectories, anticipating enemy reactions, and calculating every conceivable outcome with a precision born of experience and desperation. Historical knowledge of enemy tactics and previous mission patterns guided his decisions, allowing him to foresee potential threats and exploit weaknesses with an almost prescient understanding. The aircraft shuddered under the strain of aggressive maneuvers, wings flexing as though protesting the audacity of the pilot's defiance, yet he pressed on, knowing that hesitation meant death. His senses absorbed every detail: the glint of sun on enemy metal, the pattern of movement in the smoke-filled sky, the subtle changes in wind currents that affected altitude and control. Above the sprawling city, the interplay of light and shadow, smoke and mist, created both hazards and opportunities, and he manipulated these elements with expert timing, converting potential obstacles into tools of survival. The strain of constant vigilance was immense, yet his resolve remained unbroken, reinforced by the understanding that this mission was both necessary and personal. Every evasive maneuver, every calculated risk, was a testament to his unwavering commitment to survive and to complete the mission against impossible odds. Enemy fighters closed in from multiple directions, the threat of collision and anti-aircraft fire ever present, yet the pilot remained centered, a figure of discipline amidst the chaos, moving with a rhythm that was both instinctive and meticulously planned. Each passing second stretched into eternity as the battle in the sky escalated, the aircraft slicing through clouds, sunlight, and smoke in a ballet of life and death. The pilot's heartbeat synchronized with the mechanical pulse of the aircraft, a cadence that carried him forward, guiding his actions with a clarity forged in the crucible of countless previous engagements. The conflict was no longer simply tactical, it was existential, a confrontation between human will and the relentless machinery of war, where every decision could alter the balance of survival. As enemy formations maneuvered to encircle and overwhelm, he anticipated, adapted, and countered, his actions a delicate fusion of instinct, calculation, and unwavering courage. Above Tokyo, the sky had become both battlefield and arena, a theater where skill, strategy, and bravery collided, and the pilot remained the central figure, unyielding, determined, and fully aware of the monumental stakes at hand. The sky over Tokyo had transformed into a deadly arena, each second charged with tension, and the pilot's every decision now held consequences far beyond himself. Enemy fighters converged with relentless precision, black silhouettes against the morning light, their formation tight, their intent unmistakable. Anti-aircraft bursts erupted below, sending jagged plumes of smoke into the sky, each one a reminder that one wrong move would end everything. Yet he maneuvered with unparalleled skill, banking and diving, climbing and rolling, a seamless extension of both instinct and training. His mind calculated trajectories, angles of attack, potential collision points, and evasive opportunities simultaneously, a mental choreography as intricate as the movements of the aircraft itself. Clouds became shields, shadows became allies. Sunlight reflected off metal surfaces used to blind and mislead adversaries, every environmental element leveraged to maintain the upper hand. The city below remained a labyrinth, each street and rooftop factored into every movement, every turn designed to minimize collateral risk while maximizing tactical advantage. Civilians moving unknowingly through alleys and markets were part of his constant calculations, and he adjusted altitude, speed, and approach angles to avoid them, turning the dense urban environment into both challenge and tool. Enemy pilots attacked aggressively, diving with speed and accuracy, yet he anticipated each maneuver, countering with precision, exploiting gaps, feints, and timing to stay one step ahead. Every mechanical noise, from engine groan to control surface response, was monitored, interpreted, and integrated into split-second decisions, each input potentially life-saving. His vision tracked dozens of variables simultaneously: enemy positions, anti-aircraft fire patterns, cloud density, wind shifts, urban obstacles, and even subtle changes in sunlight, all converging into a single, coherent mental map guiding action. Sweat and tension pressed upon him, yet fear was converted into focus, doubt into calculation, and the rhythm of the aircraft became a pulse with which he synchronized every maneuver. Historical knowledge of prior missions informed his anticipation of enemy behavior, and his experience allowed him to predict attacks with near-prescient accuracy. Each evasive roll, calculated dive and sharp climb was both survival tactic and statement of defiance, demonstrating that courage, skill, and human determination could bend the course of seemingly inevitable disaster. The interplay of light and shadow above Tokyo created fleeting visual illusions, and he used every transient opportunity, exploiting obscurity while avoiding exposure, constantly balancing risk and reward. His hands moved with precision over controls, each adjustment translating instantly into flight path changes, the aircraft responding with obedience, flexing wings under pressure, yet never failing in alignment with his intent. Every second stretched with intensity, each maneuver increasing tension, yet maintaining a fluid, unbroken sequence of action that allowed survival amidst the chaos. The enemy's persistence only sharpened his resolve. Their closing formations met with calculated aggression and evasive genius, transforming potential doom into controlled opportunity. Anti-aircraft explosions became markers, each detonation informing his positioning, each burst of fire integrated into his constantly evolving mental model of danger. He remained aware not only of the sky but of the city below, where lives could be affected by his decisions, blending strategic genius with moral responsibility. The continuous adjustment of altitude, speed, and angle, synchronized with environmental cues, enemy movement, and internal calculation, created a seamless flow of motion that defined the battle. Above the sprawling urban landscape, smoke, fire, and sunlight merged into a chaotic mosaic, yet he navigated it flawlessly, an embodiment of human mastery over circumstance, environment, and destiny. The conflict was no longer abstract. It was a tangible, high-stakes engagement in which skill, courage, and the ability to anticipate the unpredictable determined whether history would record heroism or tragedy. Each heartbeat, each engine hum, each calculated movement was a testament to the relentless will of a pilot refusing to yield, a solitary figure defying both odds and expectation, navigating the deadly sky with unwavering precision and resolve, pushing every limit to survive, succeed, and complete his final mission against all conceivable odds. The decisive moment arrived as the pilot engaged the enemy directly, his aircraft weaving through the skies like a phantom, engines screaming against the wind. Anti-aircraft fire erupted below, the city streets becoming a jagged pattern of smoke and flame, each burst threatening to end the mission and his life in an instant. Enemy fighters pressed in from multiple directions, their wings cutting the sunlight, guns blazing. Yet he maneuvered with precision that seemed impossible, threading between dangers with the skill of a master. Every dive and roll was calculated, executed with an instinct that blurred the line between human reaction and mechanical perfection. Clouds and smoke provided fleeting cover, and he timed each movement with meticulous care, using the environment to shield himself while striking with maximum efficiency. The city stretched beneath him, rooftops, bridges, and alleyways forming a complex terrain that both challenged and aided his maneuvers, each decision a balance between risk and opportunity. Civilians scattered below, their screams mingling with the hum of engines and crackle of gunfire. As the pilot focused entirely on neutralizing threats without unnecessary casualties, a delicate task demanding absolute precision. Every instrument in the cockpit was monitored with obsessive attention, gauges and dials read instantly, each adjustment translating into micro-movements that could save or doom him. The enemy closed in, coordinated and relentless, yet he anticipated every move, predicting attacks and countering with a combination of aggression and evasion that left observers awestruck. Time seemed to stretch as seconds became eternities, each moment demanding decisions at the speed of thought, each maneuver a brushstroke on the chaotic canvas of the aerial battle. Smoke from burning buildings rose into the sky, mixing with clouds to create shifting patterns, and he used these constantly changing elements to maintain the advantage, blending observation with instinct. His wings sliced through the sky with unwavering precision, engine vibrations a constant reminder of both the fragility and power of the machine under his control. Every attack he made was deliberate, every evasive maneuver planned, yet executed with a fluidity that appeared spontaneous, a testament to experience honed through countless missions. Enemy fighters attempted to flank and encircle him, their formation tight and disciplined, yet he exploited gaps, timing his moves with uncanny accuracy, always aware of the smallest detail that could mean survival. Anti-aircraft fire below continued its relentless rhythm, each explosion a potential fatal event, yet he integrated the visual and auditory cues into his mental map, turning danger into navigable space. His heartbeat matched the pulse of the engines, synchronizing human and machine into a single unit of purpose and precision. Each movement in the sky was a negotiation with fate, a conversation with mortality. And the pilot spoke fluently, asserting control over circumstances that seemed designed to destroy him. Above Tokyo, the sky became a theater of chaos and heroism, a stage where courage and skill collided against overwhelming odds. His final mission was no longer abstract. It was tangible, immediate and absolute, every maneuver a testament to training, instinct and determination. The interplay of sunlight, smoke and cloud cover created dynamic shadows, and he exploited these to conceal, confuse and outmaneuver adversaries with relentless focus. Every second amplified the intensity, every maneuver carried consequence, yet he moved with calm decisiveness, a figure of extraordinary poise amid the cacophony of war. The aircraft responded flawlessly to his commands, wings flexing under extreme stress, and he pushed every limit of both machine and personal endurance, aware that success required a perfect balance of aggression, caution and timing. Above the sprawling urban landscape, the pilot's actions became a singular narrative of human will, confronting overwhelming forces, a testament to courage and determination that would echo long after the engines fell silent and the smoke cleared. The sky above Tokyo became a battlefield of light and shadow, metal and smoke, as the pilot executed maneuvers that pushed both his skills and his aircraft to the absolute limit. Enemy fighters closed in from all sides, banking aggressively, firing rounds that zipped past with deadly accuracy. Yet he anticipated every attack, responding with a combination of evasive rolls, sharp dives, and sudden climbs that left his pursuers off balance. The roar of the engine was deafening, a mechanical heartbeat synchronized with the adrenaline pumping through his veins. Each vibration transmitted directly through the controls into his hands, guiding micro-adjustments that were the difference between survival and destruction. Below, the city became a chaotic labyrinth of rooftops, narrow streets and bridges, each feature meticulously factored into his calculations as potential cover or hazard. Smoke from early morning fires and distant explosions swirled through alleys and courtyards, creating a shifting environment that demanded constant adaptation. His eyes scanned relentlessly, tracking enemy formations, calculating trajectories, predicting maneuvers, and integrating the ever-changing patterns of light, shadow, and smoke into a coherent mental map that guided every movement. Civilians moved through streets below, their lives intertwined with every decision he made, and he adjusted altitude, speed, and angle to minimize risk to them, maintaining a delicate balance between aggression against enemies and protection of the innocent. Anti-aircraft bursts from below erupted like jagged flowers, smoke and fire marking each potential zone of danger. Yet he weaved through the chaos with unmatched precision, treating each blast as both threat and data point. The enemy pilots pressed harder, closing angles, attempting flanking maneuvers, but he anticipated their every move, exploiting gaps in formation and timing responses with almost supernatural accuracy. Time stretched as seconds became infinite, every microsecond filled with calculations, reactions, and split-second adjustments, the battlefield a constant puzzle demanding total focus and unwavering courage. Each dive, roll, and climb was executed with deliberate intent, yet flowed seamlessly, a fluid choreography of survival, aggression, and defiance. The cityscape below became a dynamic backdrop, rooftops and streets, shifting in visual perspective with every maneuver. Each element integrated into strategy, each feature either a tool for concealment or a hazard to avoid. Clouds and smoke provided temporary cover, moments of opportunity that he leveraged with precise timing, blending natural and mechanical advantages to maintain supremacy over the unfolding chaos. Engine vibrations, control responses, and visual cues were interpreted instantly, converted into action. Every twitch and tremor accounted for in the complex calculus of survival. His heartbeat, synchronized with the aircraft's engine, became a rhythm that guided every motion, transforming fear and tension into focus, instinct, and mastery. Enemy fighters attempted encirclement, closing ranks with aggressive determination, but he exploited every weak point, turning potential traps into openings. Every maneuver, a statement of defiance against impossible odds. The interplay of sunlight, shadow, smoke, and urban terrain created shifting conditions, and he adapted instantly, exploiting the environment to remain elusive, precise, and deadly. Every passing moment intensified the stakes, yet he remained composed, a singular figure of human will in a chaotic, high-stakes confrontation. The aircraft responded flawlessly to every command, wings flexing under extreme stress, yet holding steadfast to his guidance, a perfect fusion of human skill and mechanical engineering. The city below, full of life and risk, stretched endlessly, a living maze through which he moved with expert precision, balancing every maneuver against both opportunity and peril. Above Tokyo, the sky was a theater, each action a brushstroke in the epic narrative of survival, skill and defiance, the pilot at the center, executing the impossible with courage and relentless determination, pushing both man and machine to their ultimate limits in a mission that would be remembered long after the battle ended. As the dust and smoke began to settle over Tokyo, the pilot's daring maneuvers had left both enemies and allies in awe, his actions altering the course of the mission in ways no one had anticipated. The enemy formations, once confident and disciplined, were now scattered, their cohesion broken by the skill, audacity, and relentless determination of a single man in a fragile aircraft. Anti-aircraft fire had been neutralized not by brute force, but by precision, timing, and a mastery of both environment and mechanics that defied conventional expectation. From the ground, observers could hardly comprehend the scope of what had transpired, witnessing only glimpses of an aerial ballet that had determined life and death for countless participants. Civilians moved cautiously through streets below, sensing the change in the air, the ebbing threat that had once loomed over them, unaware that their safety was owed to the courage and defiance of one extraordinary pilot. The city itself bore marks of the engagement, smoke curling from rooftops, scattered debris and faint scorch marks. Yet the destruction was minimized compared to the scale of what could have occurred, a testament to both skill and deliberate restraint. The pilot, breathing heavily but maintaining calm focus, evaluated the aftermath, aware of both what had been achieved and what remained uncertain. His aircraft bore scars of the engagement, scratches, dents, and smoke-stained panels, yet it remained operational, a resilient extension of his resolve and mastery. Each gauge and dial was read with meticulous care, monitoring systems for potential failures, each measurement informing decisions on the next course of action. Enemy pilots regrouped but hesitated, their confidence shaken, unsure how a single adversary had dismantled their strategy with such precision. The psychological impact was immediate, a ripple of fear and confusion spreading through enemy ranks, reinforcing the extraordinary nature of the pilot's actions. Beyond the immediate tactical victory, the mission demonstrated the power of human ingenuity, courage and discipline against overwhelming odds. The outcome, a narrative of defiance, etched into the annals of aerial warfare. The pilot navigated through residual flak bursts and scattered enemy fire, maintaining altitude and control, his mind simultaneously processing immediate threats and long-term strategic implications. Every maneuver reflected both instinctive skill and calculated reasoning, a balance between reaction and foresight that had defined his approach from the moment of takeoff. The city beneath remained fragile, each building, street, and rooftop a reminder of the environment he had masterfully navigated, minimizing harm while maximizing tactical success. Communications from Allied units confirmed scattered enemy losses and disrupted formations, data that validated the effectiveness of his actions and reinforced the significance of a single pilot in a broader operational context. The pilot's gaze scanned the horizon, noting distant enemy aircraft retreating, regrouping or attempting minor counterattacks. Yet none dared approach with the same intensity, recognizing the audacity and skill that had dictated the course of the engagement. His breathing remained steady, a deliberate control over physical and mental state, ensuring clarity for the remaining phases of the mission and potential further threats. The aerial landscape was now calmer, but still charged with tension, residual smoke and flak remnants serving as a reminder of the risks that had been taken and survived. Historical implications loomed large, the pilot's defiance and survival creating a narrative that would inspire both contemporary observers and future generations. An embodiment of courage exceeding reason, skill meeting opportunity, and human will prevailing against near-certain odds. The mission's outcome was both tactical and symbolic, demonstrating that singular courage, meticulous planning, and fearless execution could reshape events, alter perception, and leave an indelible mark on the unfolding history of war. The pilot's journey had transformed the skies, and in doing so, he had reshaped the narrative of possibility, showing that even in the darkest moments, determination and skill could carve a path to survival and success. The aftermath of the mission revealed the full extent of the pilot's impact, both immediate and far-reaching, as enemy forces regrouped slowly, their confidence shattered by the audacity and precision of his actions. The city, scarred but largely intact, became a silent witness to what had occurred above. Rooftops and streets still bearing faint traces of flak bursts and airborne combat, yet miraculously spared from widespread devastation. Observers on the ground marveled at the improbable sequence of events, understanding only partially how a single pilot could dictate the movements, morale and fate of multiple enemy formations with such decisive skill. His aircraft, battered but serviceable, descended carefully through the residual haze, wings cutting through lingering smoke, engine humming steadily, a testament to both mechanical resilience and human mastery. Civilians ventured from hiding, cautious but aware that danger had subsided, lives spared by the careful navigation, timing, and audacity of a single individual. Reports filtered through Allied communications, confirming disarray among enemy forces, disrupted plans, and minimal collateral damage, all evidence of the mission's strategic effectiveness. The pilot, aware of his own fatigue but maintaining unwavering focus, surveyed the skies for lingering threats, noting retreating enemy aircraft and residual anti-aircraft fire, adjusting course to ensure continued safety and mission success. Each maneuver, while less urgent than in combat, remained deliberate, reflecting discipline, caution, and situational awareness honed over years of training and prior sorties. The tactical victory was evident in scattered enemy formations, delayed operations, and psychological disruption, outcomes magnified by the exceptional skill, timing, and courage of the pilot above. Beyond immediate effects, the symbolic impact resonated. The notion that human determination, tactical intelligence, and courage could shape events even in the face of overwhelming odds became a lesson for both contemporaries and future strategists. As he navigated above Tokyo, the city slowly returning to normalcy, the pilot reflected on the interplay of chance, skill, and human will, understanding that survival had required not only daring, but meticulous preparation, situational mastery, and the ability to anticipate both enemies and environment with unerring accuracy. Smoke from previous flak and explosions drifted across rooftops, mingling with morning light to create shifting shadows, yet he used these environmental variables to maintain control and avoid unnecessary risk, demonstrating an unparalleled integration of instinct and calculation. Ground crews and Allied observers tracked his movements with admiration, noting that a single aircraft and a single pilot had disrupted operations of multiple enemy units, a feat previously considered impossible. Communication with Allied command confirmed successful disruption of enemy strategy, a tactical and psychological advantage secured at minimal cost, validating the pilot's approach and reinforcing the significance of individual skill in aerial warfare. The physical toll on both man and machine was evident, yet determination, discipline, and focus ensured continued operational capability, a fusion of human resilience and mechanical endurance. Civilians moving through streets below did so with cautious curiosity, unaware that the risks they had avoided were dictated by precise calculation, instinct and courage above, their daily routines resuming under the shadow of extraordinary events. Enemy forces attempted minor counteractions, but lacked cohesion, their morale shaken, effectiveness reduced, and operational tempo disrupted by the unprecedented audacity displayed by a lone pilot in the sky. Every micro-adjustment of throttle, aileron, rudder, and control surfaces had contributed to this outcome, each reaction a calculation of life, death, and tactical advantage. Historical records would later note the exceptional nature of the mission, emphasizing that even in the most constrained and dangerous scenarios, preparation, skill, and courage could redefine outcomes and leave indelible marks on operational history. The pilot, descending toward a safer altitude, embodied the convergence of skill, courage, and human determination, a solitary figure who had faced overwhelming odds, adapted to dynamic threats, and emerged victorious through precision, strategy, and unwavering resolve. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows over rooftops and streets, the city slowly returned to rhythm. The skies cleared, and the mission concluded not only in survival, but in a demonstration of the extraordinary capability of a single determined individual to alter the course of events in wartime Tokyo. As the pilot prepared to conclude his final mission, the weight of what had transpired settled upon him, an almost tangible pressure pressing against resolve, experience, and endurance. The city below, sprawling yet scarred, bore silent witness to the extraordinary sequence of events that had unfolded in the skies above, a ballet of courage, skill, and defiance that had rewritten expectations. Each maneuver, each calculated adjustment, had been a conversation with mortality, every decision a dialogue with chance, fate, and the unpredictable forces of war. His aircraft, though bearing the scars of battle, responded faithfully, wings flexing and engine humming steadily, a tangible testament to both mechanical resilience and human mastery. The pilot's mind processed every element, reviewing threats neutralized, opportunities exploited, and the narrow margins that had defined success and survival. Enemy forces had been disrupted, disorganized, and scattered, yet vigilance remained paramount. The mission's conclusion depended upon continued awareness and precise execution, ensuring that survival did not merely result from skill but from discipline maintained until the very end. Above Tokyo, clouds shifted in slow, deliberate motion, casting patterns of light and shadow that required constant adaptation, each second a potential pivot point, each maneuver carrying consequence. Civilians moved cautiously through streets, unaware of the extraordinary aerial contest that had determined the safety of their homes and lives, their oblivion a testament to the pilot's careful navigation, foresight, and restraint. Anti-aircraft remnants and scattered enemy formations served as both reminder and measure of the mission's success, evidence of defiance executed at the limits of human capacity. Each instrument in the cockpit was monitored with unwavering attention. Gauges read, dials adjusted, ensuring that every system remained within operational parameters, a constant vigilance necessary to secure the completion of the mission. The sun's angle shifted slowly, casting long shadows over rooftops and bridges, highlighting the intricate complexity of the urban landscape, the very environment that had both challenged and aided the pilot throughout the engagement. Every decision now balanced the dual objectives of safety and strategic demonstration, proving that meticulous calculation, courage, and instinct could harmonize into outcomes that seemed impossible from any external perspective. Enemy forces, disoriented and scattered, attempted minor regroupings, but the psychological impact of the pilot's audacity had imposed hesitation, an intangible yet critical advantage in a theater where hesitation equaled vulnerability. The pilot's breathing remained controlled, heartbeat synchronized with the mechanical pulse of the aircraft, a rhythm that guided precise inputs into controls. Every adjustment a conversation between man and machine that had been refined through countless hours of training and prior sorties. Historical awareness, environmental observation, and instantaneous calculation combined into a seamless cognitive framework, enabling the pilot to respond, adapt, and navigate with unparalleled efficiency. The city, now recovering from the immediate chaos, became a backdrop for reflection, each street and building a silent participant in the narrative of courage, precision, and survival. Moments of tension still lingered, but the pilot's continued vigilance ensured that the final act of the mission would be executed with both mastery and caution. Anti-aircraft positions were observed, enemy aircraft distant but monitored, and the cityscape below continuously assessed for risk, each micro-decision contributing to the cumulative success. The experience underscored the symbiosis of preparation, skill, courage, and awareness, demonstrating that survival in extreme circumstances required not only technical mastery, but psychological fortitude and moral discernment. As the pilot guided the aircraft through descending altitudes and shifting light, the significance of every choice became evident, each a brushstroke in a larger story of defiance, strategy, and human resilience. The mission, though technically complete, remained alive in every micro-moment, a living record of the capacity for a single individual to alter outcomes, influence enemy perception, and secure survival against formidable odds. Above the sprawling urban landscape, the pilot embodied the confluence of courage, skill, and determination, a solitary figure whose actions transformed both perception and reality, etching a final, indelible mark on the historical record of wartime Tokyo. As the pilot completed the final moments of his mission, the weight of accomplishment and exhaustion intertwined, forming a complex tapestry of triumph, relief, and reflection. Tokyo lay below, still and scarred, the cityscape a testament to the chaos that had raged above and the precision that had preserved countless lives. Every street, rooftop, and bridge bore silent witness to the extraordinary sequence of maneuvers executed with unmatched skill, courage, and determination. The enemy, disrupted and disoriented, retreated or regrouped slowly, unable to regain the cohesion that had been shattered by the audacity of a single pilot, navigating both machine and environment with flawless coordination. Anti-aircraft fire no longer threatened, enemy fighters had scattered, and the immediate dangers of the mission had passed, yet vigilance remained paramount. Each second, a potential pivot point that required discipline and awareness. The pilot's aircraft, bearing marks of combat yet fully operational, hummed steadily, the wings flexing under stress yet maintaining perfect control, a tangible extension of both mechanical engineering and human mastery. Each instrument was monitored carefully, gauges read, dials adjusted, ensuring that no latent malfunction could compromise the delicate balance between survival and disaster. Civilians moved cautiously through the streets, unaware of the extraordinary actions that had determined the safety of their neighborhoods, their daily lives resuming under the shadow of heroism that had unfolded above them. Communication from Allied command confirmed the effectiveness of the mission, enemy formations disrupted, operations delayed, and minimal collateral damage, validating both tactical planning and execution under extreme conditions. The pilot's focus remained unwavering, analyzing residual threats, monitoring environmental variables, and preparing for any unexpected contingencies, embodying discipline, resilience, and foresight. The shifting sunlight cast long shadows across rooftops and alleys, highlighting the complex urban terrain navigated with precision, each feature evaluated for both risk and tactical opportunity. The psychological impact on enemy forces was profound, their confidence shaken by the demonstration of audacity, skill, and the effective disruption of multiple coordinated units by a single aircraft and pilot. Every micro-adjustment, each calculated maneuver, and every decision executed in the cockpit contributed to the overarching success of the mission, reflecting a seamless integration of instinct, experience, and strategic thinking. Historical context amplified the significance of the operation, demonstrating that even in environments dominated by overwhelming forces, human ingenuity, courage, and meticulous preparation could dictate outcomes previously considered impossible. The pilot's breathing, calm yet deliberate, guided precise inputs into the controls, each movement deliberate and synchronized with both mental calculation and environmental feedback. Shadows, smoke, light, and wind currents were constantly assessed and incorporated into ongoing decisions, ensuring that every maneuver was both safe and effective. The cityscape beneath became a living map, streets, rooftops, and open areas continuously analyzed for potential hazards or opportunities, each micro-decision contributing to the cumulative outcome. Enemy aircraft, scattered and hesitant, no longer posed immediate threat, Yet the pilot maintained strategic awareness, a testament to training, discipline, and the recognition that vigilance extended beyond immediate danger. The mission's success resonated not only in tactical terms, but also as a symbolic demonstration of the power of individual skill, courage, and determination to shape events in the midst of large-scale conflict. As he guided the aircraft through descending altitude and the shifting cityscape below, the pilot embodied the fusion of experience, instinct, and unwavering focus, demonstrating that mastery over both human and mechanical elements could defy expectation. Each second became a measure of resilience and expertise, every maneuver a reflection of the extraordinary capacity for human courage under pressure. The sun climbed higher, casting long, moving shadows over the city, and the pilot, still alert and in control, ensured the mission concluded without further incident, leaving behind a narrative of triumph, survival, and enduring legacy. Above Tokyo, the sky cleared, the city returned to rhythm, and the pilot, exhausted but resolute, completed his final mission, a testament to the extraordinary potential of human skill, determination, and the will to survive against all odds.